Hey everyone, Colin once again, aka Jurassic Godzilla fan. Welcome back to another movie review. Um, and like I said before, when I did my view when my video when Bob Hoskins passing away, I said I was planning on doing a movie review of it before he passed, of the film Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the classic, absolute classic film. Which I am going to do right now. Just a brief moment before I get into it. Did another poster rearranging, as you can see. I finally framed a poster of Beyond the Poseidon Adventure. Finally got that framed, and I also got, if you can see, my poster of How to Train Your Dragon, the first film. Got that one framed. I also moved some of the posters from my wall back there where my Godzilla poster is, like Monsters vs. Aliens and my teenage. You probably can see because the light's showing a glare on it. But if you can see my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles original movie poster right there. You can see it because the light's in the way, the light's in the way, but show you closer to that as well. So just want to show you, just do another rearrange so you can see more of these posters, So yeah, so I got that. So we'll plan to get another poster pretty soon. So, but not right now though. But I'm just gonna say. So get into my review of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, released of June 24th, 1988. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, which I really like. Robert Zemeckis as a director. Robert Zemeckis, who directed the Back to the Future trilogy, Forrest Gump, directed the 2009 animated film of The Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey voicing, including this film, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and he also directed like in 2012 he directed the film with Denzel Washington, Flight. He's directed many others, and he produced a few horror films as well. Executive producer for a few horror films, like the remake of House on Haunted Hill, which I really do enjoy that film. That's the remake of it, the 1998 remake of House on Haunted Hill. House of Wax remake, which I do enjoy, and Ghost Ship from 2002. So and also Robert Zemeckis. He also was a producer of one of the biggest bombs of all time, Disney's Mars Needs Moms. So he's been the producer of some horror films, including that film. But Robert Zemeckis, he's a really good director, especially the classics of especially this film, Back to the Future trilogy, and Forrest Gump. And if you also remember when I first started my channel, I had the poster of Who Framed Roger Rabbit right there. If you go back to my my first reviews of them, I had the poster of Who Framed Roger Rabbit right there temporarily, So. And also the producers of this film, Frank Marshall and Steven Spielberg, right there. If you can read right there. Who's the executive producer. And this film is also based on the novel by Gary K. Wolfe, which is usually called Who Censored Roger Rabbit. Which came out during the summer, was a major hit. $70 million budget, made 329 million worldwide. It was the second highest grossing film in 1998 behind Rayman with Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman. But it was also nominated for. It won 4 Academy Awards, which I'll get to right here in a second. It won 4 Academy Awards. Um, it won the Academy Awards for Best Sound Editing, Best Visual Effects, Best Film Editing. Um, and also, it says right there are 3. I don't know why if it says 4 or nominated, it's saying 3 out of them. 3 out of them. But it says also his nominations was Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Sound. It won the Saturn Award for Best Fantasy Film, as well as Best Direction and Special Effects. It also became the first animated film to win multiple Academy Awards since Mary Poppins. That's cool. And like I said, stars Bob Hoskins, who's now recently has passed. Like I said, check out my video of him, my little tribute video for him. So, and which was absolutely very well fantastic. If anyone knows his name, everyone will look at his performance in this film. Anyone would say this is probably his best performances in this film. Among the cast, who starring Christopher Lloyd as Judge Doom, who I absolutely love. I love Christopher Lloyd. Great actor, outstanding actor. Robert Zemeckis chose Christopher Lloyd, first for after performing in the first Back to the Future, so he chose him again to be Judge Doom. So getting into the plot. So it sets up. It starts in the setting takes place in 1947 in Hollywood. Where in this world, toons, the cartoons, which they call them toons, not just cartoons, just toons. Toons, of all different, from the cartoons from Warner Brothers and from Disney, they're all living in the human world, They also they have their animated town called Toontown living next to them, like you can see from behind the studio or going through this tunnel, which leads to Toon World. Pardon me. Then Roger Rabbit is like the film starts off with Roger Rabbit. They're making like another cartoon segment. With this who was that Baby Herman, which is really actually it was a cartoon baby. But actually, he's an adult. He's more of an adult, but looks like a baby though. And they're filming a cartoon segment. And like how they think they did how shall I say. They just yell cut, and they're just ordered to stop it, but then we get to Eddie Valiant, played by Bob Hoskins, who was a journalist, he's a private detective. He's a private detective, and who used to like working with toons, investigate. He's more on he worked with cases involving toons, and along with him and his brother Teddy. But a tragic happens that his brother was killed by a toon that had a piano dropped on him, And since then, he's lost interest in his job, and he's an alcoholic, Doesn't care about his job anymore, That's why he started hating toons because of that. So, but he goes, the head of the entire studio, R.K. Maroon, has hires him to investigate of with the involvement of Jessica Rabbit, Roger Rabbit's wife, his right there, saying that investigate that. I'm reading right here. The Roger Rabbit thinks that Roger Rabbit thinks that she might be cheating on him. So that's why they hire Eddie Valiant to take pictures. And he goes into the bar, this like nightclub. It shows like Donald Duck and Daffy Duck playing the pianos against each other. They're along with they're just fighting each other. Donald Duck blasting him. And like then there's also like Eddie's sitting, he shortly talks to Betty Boop, and it's like a very well, how they made, how for the budget was well used, making, mixing with cartoons in the real world, and when he goes back, he gets kicked out, and not before taking the pictures that of Jessica seeing this practical joker Marvin Acme, which if you've ever seen the old Looney Tunes shows, like mostly like Wile E. Coyote, he gets all these supplies, and the box says Acme, like Acme Anvil or Acme Dynamite, this and that, That's what that guy's name, Marvin Acme. He's peeking through a window, seeing that Jessica is with seeing Marvin Acme. He takes the pictures and he shows them to Maroon and Roger. He flips out. Crashes through a window. So then the following the next day, the next morning, his the guy, what is that guy's name? Who is the lieutenant, Lieutenant Santino, played by this guy Richard LeParmentier. I just heard like now a while back that guy passed, and you might have seen him in like a small role in the first Star Wars film, But this guy's a lieutenant. He goes to see him, tells him that Acme is dead, but they got a safe dropped on him by a tune. He was killed by a tune, and they suspect it was Roger Rabbit because of the way he acted, So they go investigate the Acme warehouse. Shows of the safe with a check by that's chalk outline, And there's like a small accident, where a couple of guys were taking the body away, knocks over a box with cartoon shoes, and Bob Hoskins, tries to pick up those joy buzzers, That's where he made Christopher Lloyd as Judge Doom, And if you notice throughout the entire film, which also says right here though that Christopher Lloyd, he never blinked once, He's like, well, if you can't see through his glasses, he's like this, never blinking once. And he tells him, tells him to hand over, and it's like how Eddie just uses the joy buzzers on him. He's like, So, but he tells him that he was doing it for the job. He wasn't working for a tune. And so he hired his Judge Doom has hired his henchmen with them, which is the Weasels. Which I absolutely love the Weasels. They're also one of the highlights for me in this film, the Weasels, which they were created solely for this film, which the lead one, which are if you remember well, if you look online, you can probably they don't say their names, they don't say their names. At one point, like Judge Doom calls the lead one Lieutenant though, but they don't call them by what they're called, like the lead Weasel with the pinkish tuxedo, he's called Smartass. The other one wearing the green tuxedo is Greasy. The heavy smoking Weasel is Wheezy. The one in the straight jacket is Psycho, and the fat one acting dumb which is called stupid, So saying Christopher Lloyd is Judge Doom, there's like another shoe that was left behind. He picks it up, He brings it over where he opens up a barrel that's this green toxic stuff, toxic acid, it's called the dip, And you go and that's the only way to kill a tune. Dips it in dips the shoe and kills it, And they're off and he's like, ooh, that's, he's like, jeez. So after he returns to his apartment. The guy Baby Herman shows him the paper, that Marvin Acme had a will on him, that was never recovered, Yeah, he goes and shoves shoves the baby away in his that thing, whatever it is, carriage, baby carriage. Make him cry, make him drop his cigar. And so as he goes and lays down in his bed, the things he pulled from a wall. Roger Rabbit is laying there next to him. Tell him that he after he came to him because he helped because of all the stuff he helped him with the tune, so he figures he helped him. Tells him that he's innocent, didn't do it. Then he goes and handcuffs him and says he has no keys for it. Then the Weasels show up, and they shoot his doorknob down, So the lead Weasel's smart ass, finds Eddie washing in the sink, He's like, what's in there? He's like, my lingerie. He's like, And it was also really good, because putting it, mixing with the animated cartoon, mixing, when he's putting him in the sink, the motion for the water in the sink, moving, with mixing with an animated cartoon, like it was. Though I didn't say that because I watched one of the videos, when Roger Ebert, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. Their videos, commenting how great the special effects were, mixing with the atmosphere, like for instance when he was in the sink, moving the water, So the smartass was telling telling the Weasel was here, so he's like, so cut that bullshit. And Bob Hoskins like, you keep talking like that, I'm gonna have to wash your mouth. That sticks the bar of soap in his mouth. And all the Weasels are finding it funny, He's telling him to stop the laughing, otherwise you're gonna die laughing, literally. So they leave, and Eddie goes to this bar where was it his wife or his girlfriend? Yeah, his girlfriend. Played by Joanna Cassidy, Dolores. It brings him to makes him hide in this room, There's like a couple of those things in the wall you look through, like a peephole, He tries to takes a hacksaw to cut the handcuffs off, but the whole time, Roger could have slipped through it the whole time, And it tells him but he goes back to his apartment, to clean up, and when it cuts to that, when he's in his apartment, he's like changing, like after he took a shower, because there was a deleted scene where Eddie, he goes back to that place where that club where he took the pictures, where there's Jessica there, and Judge Dooms are talking, and tells him that he's taking him downtown, but he's not that downtown. He's taking him to Toontown, and the Weasels take on the two towns, and the next morning they like painted like a cartoon pig head on him, and he's like, "Oh no, I've been tuned," And then he takes a shower and uses that stuff that they used to make dip and wash it all away, Then then it cuts back. That's where he gets that scene where he gets in his apartment, changes clothes. That was after that delayed scene. So then, but the Jessica Rabbit comes to his apartment, telling him that she still loves her husband, and that he's like, what it's like to be a woman, and Bob's like, well, what it's like to be a man, and it's like considering a cartoon, was a how to go, like, I was like cartoon of your figure or something, and then she's like, oh no, I was just drawn this way. But then he returns to the bar, and he sees that Roger Rabbit's dancing in front of everybody, but they won't tell where he is because he made them all laugh. Then Judge Doom appears, tells him he's looking for a tune, saying that he figures that he's here. They're throwing like a record to one of the Weasels, and they're all laughing. He's like, "Stop that laughing!" You know, if you've forgotten what happened last time, if you don't stop this laughing, you're gonna end up dead, just like your idiot hyena cousins. But he has a way to lure Roger Rabbit out, by doing the tapping, like, no tune can resist the old shave and a haircut trick. And Bob Hoskins is like, I don't know who's loony, or you or Doom, but then Roger Rabbit's like making all this, like, and he can't resist it, when he breaks through the wall, falling for it. He gets grabbed and he's about to be dipped, and Bob Hoskins gets an idea to pour a drink, because like in the earlier, after when Roger was seeing those pictures, he was asked for a drink, and the hard liquor affects him, makes him like this, and then he stretches his neck up and it starts blowing steam out. So he gets an idea to use that again, asking him, does a dying rabbit deserve a last request? I think you want a drink. And it's like Christopher Lloyd is like, well, why not? I don't see why. I don't see why prolonging the execution. He's like kind of laid back about it, But he takes him. He's like tricking him. It's like, you do. I don't. And he's like, you don't. I do. Switching the words around. Takes him. And so but they all escape, and they find with the cab's name, this cab here, Benny, locked up in the Weasels' car, freeze him, and then they all drive away, giving a chase by the Weasels. But they eventually escape, and they're just find a place to hide. They're just hiding like in a city of Moose. They're watching one of the cartoons featuring Goofy, And the Dolores finds them there, is talking, what happened to Eddie's brother, it's like figures, he's describing what this tune was who killed him, it's like, I'll never forget how it was like had those crazy eyes and that high pitched scream or squeal. And they figured well, amongst saying that he got somewhere in his head, he gets an idea of where goes and visits R.K. Maroon, telling him about where it's about this will, thinking it might be behind it, but puts his tie in a pressing machine now. But then there's the barrel of a gun, moving towards him, shoots and kills Maroon, But when she looks out the window, there's Jessica Rabbit. Thinking that she did, and she goes and follows her to Toontown. When he first enters, like, everyone knows, the cartoon knows who he is, like, saying, "Hi, Eddie." And it follows him to this building, goes all the way to the top, and as he goes to the elevator, you have that what was it that character's name? Is like this, was basically like, your floor, sir. Forget what that character's name, Say like, you saw that character in the Tom and Jerry movie, when when all the dogs are all the dogs are cats and dogs are free, from the cages. That character steps in, like, "Hello, you cranky people." That tone of voice. Yeah, he's like the bellhop, elevator operator. And he goes into the room, but I think it's Jessica, but it's a crazier bird, like, "Oh man," He goes into the goes to the bathroom, the floor is gone, he's falling, like, "Oh no, and then as he's falling, there's Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse, parachuting, which like I say right here, that marks the first that's the scene which marks the first time that Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse appear on screen together. So, which I think that's nice. That was cool. That's the first time ever they've ever appeared together. Like, you have the king of Disney, and with the king of Warner Brothers cartoons. So Eddie's asking for, "You guys got a spare shoe," and Mickey Mouse tells him that Bugs does, and Bugs is like, "I don't think you want it." He says, "I do, I do." "Okay, Doc, whatever you say. Here's the spare." And he opens it, and it's a spare tire. And Mickey Mouse like, "Oh, poor fella." And Bugs like says his traditional one of his trademark lines. Ain't I a stinker?" So, but he goes back into the alley, finds Jessica there, but they saying that she didn't do it, and then he sees that it was Judge Doom the whole time. That was the same gun that killed Maroon. So they take the Benny the cab out, saying that Jessica knew it was Doom the whole time, trying to find the will, and he said when Acme gave him the envelope, there was nothing but a blank piece of paper, and Eddie's like, "Huh, a joker to the end." And he's asking her, I was like, what do you see in Roger? What do you see in that guy? And she goes, "He makes me laugh." So as they make it way out of the tunnel, Judge Doom, he pours some dip onto the street, and making Benny skid off the road and crash himself. And then both of them are taken to the warehouse. And that's funny when they said the lead weasel saying, "We search valiant, boss. The will ain't autumn." And Judge is like, "Then frisk the woman." And the other one, Greasy, he's like, "I'll handle this one." They getting him some pleasure, putting his hand into her dress, and gets like a booby trap, a hand trap in his hands. He's like, "Ah!" And while they're doing that, they're drilling this hole in the wall which will lead to Toontown, and Judge Doom tells him his whole plan, which maybe his plans seem ridiculous though, but even though since well, I don't think it was ridiculous at all though, but how the way he describes it and the tone, it makes it seem like it's the most diabolical plan ever, how the way he describes it, tells him he's gonna race Toontown with this dip machine that'll race it, and so he can build this freeway, How the way he says it is like it does. To me, it sounds like it's the most diabolical, evil plan ever. How the way he describes it, it's like, soon, where Toontown once stood will be a string of gas stations, inexpensive motels, restaurants serve rapidly prepared food, tire salons, automobile dealerships, and wonderful, wonderful billboards as far as the eye can see. My God, it will be beautiful. Especially when the music is playing in the background, make it sound like it's the most diabolical, evil plan ever, So, and all well that Roger Rabbit, which he stole Eddie's car, and it's like all trash, he takes Benny to the makes Benny drive to the warehouse where Roger actually gets flushed down the toilet and it pops up from below the sewer, and tells him, to drop the gun, or drop the weapons, all let the judge have it, And Greasy, the one in the green tuxedo, he lands on some hanging bricks, cuts the rope and drops on Roger Rabbit when he says that line. It'll hit you like a ton of bricks. So Roger and Jessica, they're both tied up, and hanged. Um, Judge Doom, he falls. He falls on some googly eyes, and they're all laughing. He says, "One of these days, you idiots are gonna laugh yourselves to death." And he gives Eddie the idea to make him laugh to death by playing this carousel song. He's singing, he's rhyming, making the weasels all laugh, one by one. They're all dying from laughter, and like their ghosts or spirits pop out of them. And he was saying his one line like, "I'm through with taking falls. I'm bouncing off the walls. Without that gun, I have some fun. I kick you in the." And Roger like, "Nose." And Smartass goes, "Nose? That don't rhyme with walls." And Bob Hoskins like, "No, but this doesn't." Kicks him in the balls, which it rhymes with. And he sends him flying all into the dip, killing him. So so Bob Hoskins, he gets into a fight with Christopher Lloyd, and I think he has a sword, and he tries to find a sword, and it's like a singing sword, and I think it was like that voice is like sung by Frank Sinatra, I think it was. He tries to get a magnet, but it pulls him in because his sword is metal. He pulls the magnet reverse, and he gets caught putting that in a barrel, and Judge Jim gets a steamroller, tries to flatten him, but he gets pretty free because those portable black holes. You get like a hole and you put a hand through, but he uses the brake to cut through the magnet, and gets a little short in a short fight with him. He gives him a punch, but he has him with a barrel. This barrel of glue. Gets his hand, punches his hand, gets some on it, and he's like, "Oh!" But he gets his hand stuck into the steamroller, but so does his foot. Puts his foot on it. And he gets totally flattened. Like, "Oh, he gets totally flattened, and Roger's like, "Eddie, look!" And he's completely flat, but he moves back up, revealing he's a toon. He's like, and Bob's like, "Holy smoke, he's a toon!" Surprised? Not really. That lame brain freeway idea can only be cooked up by a toon. Not just any toon. He used some helium to inflate himself, and as his eyes pop out his googly eyes, and reveals himself that he's the toon that killed his brother. And pretty much, if anyone has seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, a lot of people would agree with me, still, like how with those crazy eyes that Christopher Lloyd has, it's always like super creepy, how he's like this, eyes wide open, and talking with that, he's like, "Remember me, Eddie? When I killed your brother, I talk just like this." To this day, I still find those eyes very creepy that Christopher Lloyd has. And Christopher Lloyd pulls it off really well, especially with those crazy eyes, those cartoon eyes. Clearly psycho looking. And like you guys, because this is a Tony has his shoes like springs, and takes his glove off, and his hand has an anvil. He turns into a saw. And Eddie grabs this toon hammer. When you pull it, there's a boxing glove with a spring on it. Hits this lever, and from the machine, all the dip just goes spewing out. And just when the Jessica and Roger are about to be dipped, the max level it shows, so the dip is falling low, it's running out. And Christopher Lloyd, he's like, "Woo!" He's standing in his own dip, he's melting, which he's doing like the nod, like the witch and the Wizard of Oz, going, "I'm melting, I'm melting." So the machine crashes through the wall into Toon World, and it gets hit by a train, and all the toons they come out of the wall, and Bob Hoskins. Well, first Bob Hoskins, he use those water for the fire hydrants to wash away the dip, you know. So all the tunes are coming out, you know, seeing that the dead Toon body, you know, it has like a rubber mask, you know, because they're saying that that wasn't really the Toon, so you never know what the Toon really looks like because he was wearing a complete disguise, you know. And Roger points out that there was some ink on his on Eddie's shirt because early in the film Marvin Acme sprayed him with some invisible ink, but it's invisible and reappearing ink, you know. And he knows that he has this love letter that Roger wrote for his wife, you know. It was a love letter, but invisible it was in but underneath the words reappear because Acme used invisible reappearing ink to cover up the will, which was the will, leaving the entire thing up to his tunes, his beloved tunes. And Roger wants to thank Eddie, you know, and he gives him a handshake and he uses the joy buzzer, you know, he's like about to get angry, but he's always he's like, you're not so mad, are you? And Eddie goes, does this answer your question? He kisses him. And everyone's singing, you know, what was the everyone, all the tunes start singing, and Eddie and his girl and Dolores are walking towards Toontown, and then you have Porky Pig, you know, saying, that's not, is he saying that's all, folks? It's like, that's not bad, you know. He does it, hey, believe you, that's all, folks. And Tinkerbell, boom. I just absolutely, I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I've always loved it since like I was since loving I was as a kid, you know. I was still is also one of Bob Hoskins. He'll just be really missed, you know, as you know, as an actor. He was such a great actor, and now he's passed. You know, it was a shame that he died, especially at the age of 71. You know. So if everyone knows who he is, they'll probably look at him from this film, you know. The cast does an absolute great job, you know. I don't see hardly anything wrong with the film, you know. Never once, you know. Bob Hoskins outstanding. Christopher Lloyd as Judge Doom, once again outstanding, especially with those creepy Toon eyes, you know. The voice cast, you know, Charles Flesher, who voiced Roger Rabbit, was great. The voice of Jessica Rabbit was Kathleen Turner, who was on Romancing the Stone in the sequel, The Jewel of the Nile with Michael Douglas. You know, she voiced Jessica Rabbit, and really she's also going to be appearing in the upcoming sequel, Dumb and Dumber 2. You know, so she'll be appearing in the sequel. All the cartoon characters, you know, especially I love the Weasels, you know. And ever since, you know, for a while, you know, of me watching this film, you know, especially with the scenes with the Weasels, you know, I know they were created solely for the film though, but if it was like maybe like before, maybe I was wondering, you know, like cool idea having the Weasels. With them how they are with each other, I can see them having their own film, you know. Just having an idea, you know. If everyone agrees with me, I could see them in their own film, you know, being funny, you know. But they're just created for this film only, you know. But I would like to see them in their own film, you know. Whether it's it would be before the film because they die in this film, you know. So it would have to be before Who Framed Roger Rabbit, you know. I would always love to see the Weasels in their own film, you know. It was always an idea of mine I always liked for a while, you know. And I know there were plans of making a sequel, you know. Saying right here, you know. Dude, because the film was very critically acclaimed and box office success, you know. There was plans for a while for a sequel, you know. And the time they were gonna make a prequel they called Roger Rabbit: The Toon Platoon that was gonna be set 6 years before the first film in 1941. You know, But that this didn't happen, you know, and before Bob Hoskins retired, he said he was gonna plan on doing it, but since he got diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, he said no, which was really sad at the time, So when he did Snow White and the Huntsman, after that he retired, and that was his last film, Which is sad, If they're still planning to do a sequel, now that Bob Hoskins is now passed, it's not gonna be. If they do a sequel, it's not gonna be the same without him, It's just not gonna be the same. So yeah. If Robert Zemeckis will continue doing a sequel, it's just not gonna be the same without Bob Hoskins, because he was a very likable character, a beloved character, It just won't be the same without him. But yeah, but since it was so who knows? Maybe they'll still. I think they're still planning to do a sequel still, but they said they're still planning on doing a prequel. It says taking place 5 years, before, like how Roger met Jessica, And it says that Gary K. Wolf has stated the film is currently wending its way through Disney, So yeah. So like I said, this is an old special edition film that looks like a journal, Opens up like this. Special two disc edition. Contains like an investigative journal book, Oops. Tells like the special feat. Tells right here like the deleted scene, like I said, called the pig. It's called the pig head sequence. The deleted scene right there. The disc one for this one just shows the Roger Rabbit shorts. Like if you remember the first Honey I Shrunk the Kids, there was a Roger Rabbit short. So the first disc one has the shorts, and there's a mini documentary called Who Made Roger Rabbit, hosted by Charles Fletcher, who voiced Roger Rabbit. There's a Trouble in Toontown, set top DVD game. Disc 2 contains audio commentaries with Robert Zemeckis, Frank Marshall, and amongst some other people. There's a Toontown Confidential viewing option, intriguing and hilarious facts and trivia. Then there's the deleted scene. There's a before and after, the split screen comparison that was without the animation, An exclusive in-depth behind-the-scenes documentary, Behind the Ears, the true story of Roger Rabbit. On set, Benny the Cab, making a scene from the film. Eddie the Valiant Files, A lot of features. So it also includes some pictures. It contains two pictures. There's a picture of Roger Rabbit and a picture of Jessica Rabbit right there. So yeah. So the film was critically acclaimed. It has a 7.7 on IMDb. It has a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Deserves it. So yeah. And I'd say honestly, there's nothing wrong with this. This is one of the most classic ones. Classic films of all time. Well, for me, I wouldn't say all time. Now, I would say it's a real classic. I would say it's also a masterpiece, but I would say not all time though, because probably I'll probably put it on my top something list, of all time. So, but yeah. So yeah, like I said, if anyone who's never seen this film, I highly recommend checking this film out. If anyone who has not seen this, So yeah, that's Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Bob Hoskins will be missed, So that's it. Thanks for watching. Take care, and stay tuned for the next review. Later.